A man once bought the papacy, literally handed over a sack of gold, and walked away as pope. Not a legend. This happened in the year 1045. The church, supposedly the holiest office on earth, was auctioned off to the highest bidder. So, how does a person actually become pope? Holiness? Not even close. The Vatican wants you to believe it's a matter of divine inspiration and secret ballots. And the strangest part? The process has barely changed in 800 years. The same backroom deals, the same betrayals, the same ruthless ambition. Here's what almost nobody realizes. The Vatican's throne is less a seat of holiness, more a Game of Thrones with better robes. Let's open the doors of the conclave and see what really happens when the keys to heaven are up for grabs. First myth. Popes are chosen for their saintliness. Reality check. Many weren't even priests before they were elected. Take Pope Urban VI. He was a legal clerk, not a priest, until the day before his election. The cardinals just fast-tracked him. Why? He was a compromise candidate. They thought he'd be easy to control. Spoiler. He was not. Urban VI turned on his supporters, tortured dissenters, and started a schism that split the entire Catholic world. Lesson 1. Pick a puppet, get a monster. But that didn't stop the cardinals from trying the same trick again. Second myth. The conclave is sealed, secret, and incorruptible. In reality, think more locked room full of bribes, spies, and poison. In 1492, Rodrigo Borgia, later Pope Alexander VI, bought so many votes, some cardinals left the conclave richer than kings. And yes, that year, 1492, the same year Columbus sailed. The Catholic throne went to the highest bidder. Borgia's reign? A parade of mistresses, assassinations, and open nepotism. He made his teenage son a cardinal. But here's the twist. His corruption became the model for future popes, not the exception. Third myth. Papal elections are solemn, dignified affairs. Not so. Sometimes they teetered on outright violence. In 1241, the Roman senator locked the cardinals in a crumbling building, blocked the exits, and starved them until they chose a pope. It took 2 months. 2 cardinals died, and the rest finally caved. The new pope was too sick to serve more than 2 weeks. Lesson: divine inspiration sometimes means last one alive wins. But let's get weirder. Sometimes the process broke so badly there were 2 or even 3 popes at once. This Great Schism lasted 39 years. Cardinals, kings, and entire countries picked sides. Europe turned into a papal civil war. The solution? Declare all popes deposed, then elect a 4th. That only made things worse. The papacy only survived because nobody else could agree on a better system. But even in calmer times, the election is less about holiness, more about which faction can outlast, outwit, or outbribe the others. Ever wonder why it takes days, even weeks, for the white smoke to rise? It's not prayer, it's politics. The Vatican invented some odd rituals to keep up appearances. Secrecy, locked doors, even burning the ballots, supposedly to hide votes from the devil. But the real reason? Destroying evidence of deals, betrayals, and broken promises. And if you think modern times are cleaner, think again. In 1903, the Austro-Hungarian emperor vetoed a frontrunner by secret letter. The papacy banned outside interference after that. But the habit of secret influence, once learned, never fully leaves. Even today, the conclave is a theater of alliances, leaked rumors, and whispered promises. The stakes? Absolute spiritual power. The process is so secret that, for centuries, nobody outside the Vatican even knew if a new pope had been elected until the bell tolled. Or, in one infamous case, a pope died and nobody noticed for days. The Vatican just kept business going until the smell gave it away. So what does it really take to become pope? Not sainthood, not even popularity, but something darker, the ability to survive the Vatican's endless power games. Winning the papacy has always been less about God, more about outmaneuvering your enemies, sometimes literally. And the cost? The papal office is so dangerous, over 30 popes have been murdered or mysteriously died. A job so coveted and so cursed, that some popes begged to resign, only to be forced back onto the throne at sword point. Today, even after centuries of reforms, factional infighting and secret agendas still shape every election. The Vatican wants the world to see a pure white smoke, but behind it, the fire is always burning. So next time you see a new pope wave from that balcony, remember, you're not watching a miracle. You're watching the world's oldest political thriller. And the strangest part, the real secret of papal power has nothing to do with faith, and everything to do with surviving the darkness within the Vatican's walls. So, was the papacy ever truly holy, or just the world's most dangerous seat? The answer is still locked in the conclave's vault. But what if I told you that one pope's death changed the entire course of European history by accident? For that, you'll want to see our story about the pope whose sudden demise triggered a war that shaped the modern world. But let's rewind. The idea of papal purity was so shaky that in the Middle Ages there was a running Vatican joke. God chooses the pope, but the devil picks the cardinals. That wasn't just gallows humor. In 964, Pope Joan XII was so notoriously wicked that Roman nobles tried to depose him by staging what might be the first ever Vatican coup. Their replacement? A man whose only qualification was that he wasn't John XII. Spoiler, he lasted a year. And if you're wondering what Roman mobs thought of papal elections, here's a twist. They used to riot outside the conclave, placing bets on the outcome. Gambling on God. Sometimes the mob would even break in and demand their favorite take the throne. And if the cardinals didn't comply, occasionally the crowd threatened to burn the building down. To calm the chaos, they eventually invented the conclave, literally from conclave, meaning with the key. But even then, the threat of violence never really left. In 1559, the cardinals were locked in so long that one reportedly tried to tunnel out with a spoon. Talk about holy desperation. The tunnel went nowhere, but the story spread like wildfire, a symbol of papal elections gone off the rails. What about women? Technically, a woman can't be pope, but that hasn't stopped legends like Pope Joan, the woman who supposedly fooled the world by disguising herself and sitting on Peter's throne. Most historians call her a myth, but the church was so spooked by the idea that they invented the sedia stercoraria, a literal test chair to check the pope's sex. Yes, the world's holiest office once had a built-in gender check. Irony, anyone? Fast forward to the Renaissance, and the papacy became a family business. Nepotism wasn't a bug, it was the feature. Pope Sixtus IV appointed 6 of his nephews as cardinals, turning the Vatican into a dynastic fortress. One of those nephews, Giuliano della Rovere, became Pope Julius II, better known for leading armies than prayers. Julius led troops into battle while wearing papal vestments, turning the cross into a sword, literally. So much for peace on earth. Let's talk numbers. Of the 266 popes, at least 15 were accused of simony, selling church offices and sacred things for cash. Simony was so lucrative that a single bishopric could cost a decade's salary for a noble family. The papacy's real currency? Loyalty bought, secrets kept, and favors owed. Which brings us to the modern era. While the rituals are slicker, the politics remain. During the 1978 conclave, the so-called Year of Three Popes, rumors swirled that Italian and Polish factions battled for control, with outside governments quietly rooting for their favorites. The winner? John Paul II, who broke centuries of Italian dominance. Irony, the Vatican's greatest innovation was choosing an outsider. And yet, even his election triggered whispers of secret promises and last-minute deals. Think all this is ancient history? In 2013, the resignation of Benedict XVI, the first in 600 years, set off a scramble so fierce, one Vatican insider called it the Hunger Games in cassocks. Whispers suggest alliances, secret voting blocs, even outside pressure, all in the hope of steering the next pontiff. And when Francis emerged as pope, the world cheered, but Vatican old guards quietly grumbled that their power games had failed. If you think the smoke is white, the truth is always a little gray. What's the Vatican's biggest secret? It isn't the scandals, it's the survival instinct. No matter who wins, the conclave endures, because the show, as always, must go on.